Good afternoon. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Oyewole Okiwole. Yes, sir. Welcome, Mr. Stephen Okuola as well. Welcome, Boba Ventura, one of the partnering organization as well. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up here for the Farmers Hangout, the pre-event series 0.1. We look forward to having a lot of a series before the D-Day of the event. The Farmers Hangout itself is holding 27th and 28th of June 2025 in Ishine. And One Foundation is excited to be a partnering organization, partnering with the organizers of the event, that's Agro Optimizers Limited. And we are quite appreciative of the privilege. Also want to contribute our quota before the D-Date so that we would have generated as much as possible momentum. All right, as much as possible momentum, and as well as needed questions would have been answered. I'm sorry, my network was what yanked me up the other time, and I have to come back. So sorry, would have started on the note of 12. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please indicate. Please, if you can hear me, please kindly indicate. Mr. Oyewole Okewole, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Great, sir. Great, sir. Mr. Stephen Pukola, are you with us? And
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I'm with you and I can hear you. Well done.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we are good to go with this individuals present. Thank you so much, Adeto of One Foundation. Thank you for also indicating that you can hear me. For our audience that are following from our YouTube channel, kindly let us know in the chat box if you can hear us. And for our guests, Mr. Oyewole, if you don't mind, you might need to share the platform where some individuals will be following you from and sharing it with you. That's a One Foundation YouTube platform. Perhaps we can send it to some individuals that you would like that shared it with you. I've shared the link with you, the YouTube link. All right. I briefly introduced our stand and then the reason why we're here. I would like to take it one more time. Mr. Stephen Pukola is the leader of Agro Optimizer Limited, founder and director. And they are the organizers of Farmers Hangout, whom we are partnering with from our agribusiness hub, One Agribusiness Hub, Oak Nation Entrepreneur Foundation Agribusiness Hub. And we look at it that since it's Farmers Hangout, and we know that there will be robust engagement at that level, we should start a pre-event series where we'll be calling on thought leaders in the midstream and downstream specifically of a food system, which our search led us to Mr. Okewole, who came highly recommended as thought leader in this regard. So together today, we'll be interacting with Mr. Stephen Pukola and Mr. Oyewole Okewole. Mr. Stephen Pokuola coming in to explain why farmers hang out, and a series of questions will be directed at Mr. Oyewole Okewole around what is the midstream and downstream levels of a food system, what does it entail? A reality of things with our farmers, what exactly is going on, and how best should organizations like Agro Optimizer that is organizing Farmers Hangout going forward, how best should organizations like One Foundation, Oak Nation Entrepreneur Foundation, that is partnering, and many other organizations that are partnering, how best should we come in to help the farmers? These are all, I'm sorry, pardon me. Pardon me, my YouTube is talking from, oh my God. My, please pardon me, I'm looking for solution to this. My YouTube background is on. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I was looking for it. Where is it speaking from? My YouTube channel was also open, and that's the background noise you heard earlier. Please pardon me. All right, so we continue from here. I would like to also let our guests know that some individuals, especially those who are members of the Agribusiness Hub of One Foundation, who are in particular students of universities and colleges that are agriculture based, focused, are going to be joining the YouTube from the YouTube level. Some might come in here on in the Zoom. I'd like you to please be conscious of that while we speak to organizations that are involved in the farmers' day-to-day activities, while we talk about, to the farmers, the same process, who are also stakeholders in food security, are also going to be around. Let's try to address them while we start this discussion. I would like to say that Mr. Oyewole Okewole should please hold on. I would want you to come up with your opening remark, but before then, let me have Mr. Stephen Pokuola to come up with his opening remark as organizers of Farmers Hangout, for which reason we are here, to please come up with his opening remark, briefly speak about Farmers Hangout, and from there we'll begin our interaction. Thank you so much. Mr. Stephen, over to you, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Prince David. Also, my thanks and appreciation also goes to everyone on board this morning, this afternoon. Our guest, Mr. Oyewole, and Vova Aventura, one of our partner, One Foundation, also one of our partner on Farmers Hangout. Also, Credit Assist, also one of our partner on Farmers Hangout, Voice of the Farmer, and we've got Voice of the Farmer, we've got Syria Alpha Resource and Credit Assist, which I've actually mentioned earlier on. And still got more partners on board. Appreciation to everyone this morning. Yeah, without wasting much of our time, getting to what the business of the day, what we are actually all about. Farmers Hangout, Farmers Hangout. Been hearing about it here and there. What is Farmers Hangout all about? Now, Farmers Hangout, just in a simple definition, is just a kind of meeting point, a kind of interaction platform for stakeholders in the food production sector, everyone involved in the food production. So when we talk about farmers anger, we don't just mean only farmers, because we believe uh, farmers will not be if others don't be. It's like a circular word in the food production world. But one thing there is that the whole effort is actually given to, or let me say, credit of the whole effort is actually given to the farmers, because they are the primary producer of food. So when we talk about stakeholders in the food production sector, we're even looking at the government bodies, the governmental bodies involved in terms of policies and the likes. And we look at investors, those coming on board to actually solve problems which they think are actually hindrances to food production or sustainable food production. So we've got investors, we've got the agrochemical companies, we've got the finance credit companies coming on board and the like. So Farmers Hangout is just a platform where stakeholders meet, then tend to see a way forward. We tend to evaluate where we are at the moment, and we tend to evaluate where we are in terms of food production at the moment, and we look together into where we want to be. Then we join hands together, we cooperate together, we reason together, just like a wise saying from an holy book that says, "Come, let us reason together." So it's like calling on to all stakeholders involved in food production, coming together to see together, to reason together on way forward, how to improve our food productivity, how to meet our target, and how to, how to actually have impact on our well-being in every aspect. It's just that it's somehow our well-being in every aspect is somehow connected to food. So we talk about our well-being, the economic well-being, and the likes coming together. It's a platform of coming together of all stakeholders in food production, getting to see where we are at the moment and getting to see where we want to be and how we can actually bridge the gap between where we are and then where we want to be. So that is basically what Farmers Hangout is all about, and that is what we are looking at. That day we've already seen some problems, like from interacting with farmers, the primary producer of food, some problems they are having, and that is why we bring in that has actually helped us in looking into the caliber of stakeholders we'll be bringing on board for the 1.0. We know we're going to develop, we know it's going to develop into, we have a bigger picture of it developing into something bigger in the next version. But for this one, we're looking at let's say the most important, or let's say the major one for now, and that is why we're looking at partners from the financial sector. We have credit assist. We look at partners from the agrochemicals, that is innovative solution to crop production. We have the likes of AfriAgric coming on board. We have the likes of Jubaili also on board. We have the likes of Integral Precision that coming on board. So we have all of them coming on board together, and we also have the marketing side of agricultural.
Sorry, Mr. Stephen, I might have to stop you here. Your network. Okay.
So we have the marketing wing also coming on board. So just as I have said earlier on, Farmers Hangout is just a platform of stakeholders in food production coming together, getting to see where we are at the moment, where we want to be, and how we can move from where we are to where we want to be. So I welcome you on board this first discussion around Farmers Hangout. Thank you everyone for actually being here this morning for this discussion. Um,
Sorry, the network disconnected me. Is Mr. Stevens still talking? Can
I'm
someone
done.
hear
I'm
him?
done. Yeah, I'm done. I think we can move up now. We can move
All
on now.
right, please kindly unmute, I mean mute, so that there will not be interaction. All right, please mute, please. Thank you. All right, so sorry the way the network has been treating me. Okay, all right, Mr. Oyewole, Okewole, Mr. Stephen has explained what Farmers Hangout is. Would like to hear your opening remarks, sir. And in the next 10 minutes, we would like you to go on speaking. Why we okay, Wale, can you hear me, sir?
Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible? Hello, good day,
All right, come
everyone.
on, please.
I hope I'm
If you're
audible.
muted,
You are,
the
sir.
floor is yours, sir.
You are audible,
Okay.
sir. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the platform and the organizers.
Can you hear Mr.
Leadership and-
Okewole? I wouldn't know if Mr. Stephen can hear you.
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. I
Okay.
think the network each is from
The
Chris
host?
end, so we can hear you.
Okay. I
Is
want
that
to
okay?
appreciate, yes, this platform and the hosts, Oak Nation Entrepreneurship Foundation, and all the partners that are involved with the formation and implementation of this initiative. And uh, like the partner mentioned earlier, Mr. Steven, agriculture is encompassing, it's all encompassing, and it involves many stakeholders in the entire value chain. And particularly, we're talking about farmers. The reason why farmers are so critical is because it's like they are the basis and foundation that every other stakeholder connects to. So I'm looking forward to a time of interaction, a time of enlightenment, a time of idea sharing to make our farmers better, to make stakeholders that are involved with sustainability, development and sustainability of agriculture, agribusiness, agro-industries, and all allied uh, agricultural activities beneficial to the entire agricultural agricultural ecosystem and landscape. So I am happy that you brought me here. I believe that we'll have robust interactions. Like the topic that was sent to me, there was financing is part of it, agronomic or access and market access are part of the topic. I believe so much that we'll be able to engage more and then have an interaction where actionable steps can be taken to improve the ecosystem, really, the entire value chain, right from the government, the policies, the insurance, the input suppliers, the farmers, the production itself, the food atlas, the marketers, the distributors, the processors, and of course, the consumers. We that are consuming the food, we are also part of the entire value chain. So it's an encompassing thing that everybody in the value chain, their interaction and their effects affects every other person in the value chain. Talking about midstream and downstream, midstream simply means that you are talking about areas that is post harvest, for lack of better words, areas that involves post production of agricultural commodities, and that is the midstream starts from there up till the consumption. The consumption category at the downstream section, downstream sector rather, the consumers in homes, hotels, schools, restaurants, and so on and so forth. So everybody, in essence, is part of the entire value chain, except you don't eat food or you have never eaten food. As far as you've eaten, you are automatically part of the agricultural value chain. And of course, the value chain also extends to industrial applications. Increasingly, most of the industrial feedstock are gotten from agriculture. And so because of that, by extension, the value chain extends to industries that are not perhaps even directly related to producing products that are used in the agricultural space. Agriculture which the farmers need to understand these things, but beyond that, they need to understand how it impacts the agribusinesses they are currently undergoing and how it helps them in their productivity, sustainability, and profitability. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Okewale, for clarifying on the issue of who actually is the king in this food security issue, which is the farmers. And also going on to identify other stakeholders in this food security battle. Just as I've said earlier, that we would have to begin to field in some questions to both you and Mr. Stephen, but then to you first, sir. Currently now, based on statistics at hand, when we say farmers, 80% of them, meaning 8 in every 10, are smallholder farmers. Is that true, sir? Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, I said, yes, I agree with you. In this part of the world, the developing economies of the world, in most cases, it reflects like the way the statistics mentioned it.
Okay. So in other words, on the 3 thematic points that we want to discuss at a Farmers Hangout, or want to ensure at Farmers Hangout, the financing, the better agronomy practices, and then the marketing channels. Since you are involved at a midstream and then at a downstream, it means that you are very much involved with these key players we're talking about, the farmers. Sir, how well is the financing of these farmers?
Okay, thank you for the question. I hope I'm audible, please.
Sir?
I hope I'm audible. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are very well.
Okay, so when it comes to financing, there are quite a number of models that are being integrated or they are being used. The truth of the matter is, going straight to the point, smallholder farmers are more in this part of the world because of so many constraints. We have the land tenure system. You cannot own a particular quantity of land, or you have to do some more things. You also do not have access to financing in very easy, convenient, and friendly ways. And when I mean easy, convenient, and friendly ways, I mean you cannot access funds or even grants easily. And so most of the farmers that also fall into the category of smallholder farmers are not well exposed enough to be able to access some of these funds the way they can. So, and we also have issues with political challenges in the sense that sometimes government interventions do not trickle down to the real farmers. And some of these interventions, even though they come in form of inputs and all that, they can also say their form of financing, but it doesn't trickle down robustly to the farmers. So we have an issue at hand in the sense that farmers do not have the required access for financing. Commercial banks have unreasonable interest rates for farmers. And so most banks, because they are more likely aligned to making profits, do not or have not developed a sustainable model for financing smallholder farming. So we have to also understand that smallholder farming comes with its risk that may not be captured with some of these commercial banks. So to answer your question, farmers are suffering, and that's the truth. Most of the inputs that we use are imported, and so they are gotten by foreign exchange. And so when we have issues with our foreign exchange, what was bought last year with, say, 1,000 naira, you buy maybe half of it or 2/3 of it this year, with the same amount of money. So invariably, what that translates to is that farmers under the platform of using imported inputs, the value of the purchasing power is getting lower. And since they do not have an assistance, external support and assistance, they are always left alone. And that trickles also to the fact that their productivity reduces. A farmer that has, say, 200,000 last year and he was able to do a plot of land, with that same 200,000, he perhaps will be able to do half or even 1/3 of that plot this year. So by the very nature, what that means is that his productivity has reduced this year, his profitability has reduced this year, the quantity of foods he's going to produce this year has reduced, and that means the quantity of people that can access that food compared to last year have reduced. So it's a cycle.
Excuse me, is it my network or is general? I can't hear Mr. Okewolege.
Oh, really? I wasn't audible.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You're back. You're back. You're back. You're back now. You spoke where you got to the point of that it's in circle, and that's where I could hear you last. Perhaps it's my network.
Yes.
But you can go on.
Yes. So that's really the conclusion of the matter. The conclusion is that the financial issues that the farmers have, their inability to access funds.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. The inability to I guess, sir. Is that
Yes,
the inability to access fund?
Yes.
Is the constraint they're having.
Yes, and it is not just about the farmers, it affects every other person in the value chain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. What about the issue of better agronomic practices? How well are they adopting better agronomic practices? Let me just give you an instance of one. Soil testing.
Okay.
In your dealing with smallholder farmers, being in the... Hello, sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please. I can hear you.
Hello, sir, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Clearly, I can hear you.
Good. I said being in the midstream and in your dealings with the smallholder farmers who are in the majority. Okay, so I said that being a player in the midstream and downstream means that you are very much in touch with the farmers, and that's 8 out of the 10 farmers you are in touch with are smallholder farmers. So I'm asking the question about their adoption of better agronomic practices. And then I'm giving you an instance that how well are they adopting soil tests to test their soil? How well are farmers faring in this regard, sir? Soil test. Let's just say soil testing as a better agronomic practices. So, Kowale, did you hear that? Hello, Mr. Kowale. Hello, Mr. Kowale.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, sir. Welcome back. We can hear you.
Okay, did you hear me before?
Yes, I think the Prince David was actually trying to ask a question.
Yes, I heard you.
You heard him
Yes, on soil testing and how
on soil
farmers
testing.
are able to adapt to agricultural practices.
Exactly. It was still on the question why we lost you. So we couldn't even confirm you heard the question.
I heard the question. In fact, I've started reacting to the question. I was surprised that I lost.
Can we just have your response again?
Okay, so I was saying that, thank you very much. I was saying that farmers, by their very nature, most of them are really in this smallholder gap. They have embraced farming over the years as part of their lifestyle. So they will always go back to farm. But the issue is that they want better option. They want better opportunities. They want to see that their operations and farming businesses grow just like every other person. But these things come with extra cost. And they need to be sure that the extra costs are going to be captured by the market that they are selling to. So to answer the question again, I'm trying to say that anything that will make the productivity and profitability and sustainability of farming better, enhanced for farmers, whether commercial scale or smallholders, they will always embrace it. So the question is, soil test as an example. The question is, why are we having soil tests? The farmers need to know. What does it translate to in terms of increasing money into my pocket? The farmers need to know. If you tell them that you are doing this soil test so that you know the nutrients that are in your soil and you do not apply fertilizers in a blanket way. In other words, if you know that so nutrients are in your soil, and when you are buying your fertilizer, you don't have to buy this particular nutrient because it's already in your soil, and it will reduce the money that you will spend on fertilizer input, for example. They will embrace it. So they will see that soil test is not just a theoretical thing that they have to do. It also translates into reducing their costs or causing their soil to become more sustainable, helping their produce to yield more. So it is until they see the reasons why these agronomic practices are actually being introduced to them by either the extension agents and all of that, they might not embrace it, because most of these good agricultural practices also comes with increased cost. And so they must be able to see that these good agricultural practices can be embraced, and it also translates into higher profit for them, higher yield, higher productivity, and is also sustainable. That means that they can continue to do it, and it can help their farm to even produce more and more, even especially in these climate change issues. In other words, good agricultural practices being introduced to farmers must be able to show to them that it helps to make them more resilient. So the reason why smallholder farmers are not embracing these agricultural practices is because in itself, those practices require more diligence and require more resources. But they have not been able to translate into conviction, experimental conviction to the farmers that the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages, especially if they are not being adopted. One. Two, they need to see a farm, a location, or what we call demonstration plots, where these practices have been done and the results are there for them to see, close to where they are. Three, they need to be assisted financially. It goes back to the initial discussion we had about financial inclusion. They need to be assisted financially because, to start with, this agricultural practice, apart from that is a change to them. It comes with its own challenges. The farmers need to change. They need to adopt these things. It comes with extra cost. So that initial boost in terms of cost, in terms of providing real extension services, and in terms of doing the right things, guiding them, hand holding the farmers to be able to adopt those practices, they are not there. So they need to be supported. Maybe this year, you are introducing them to hybrid varieties. They need to be supported because the varieties that they used before is disadvantaged, but it's way cheaper. So they need that initial boost, a form of support, either their first and second production cycle, until they can stand alone. And then the full adoption of all of these good agricultural practices can come to play. Otherwise, if they are left alone, the transition that are required for us to move into these sustainable agricultural practices that can ensure food security, productivity, and profitability and sustainability, we will not achieve it. So in other words, I'm trying to say that, fine, they are not adopting it as they ought to, but there are reasons for that. Those are the things I've mentioned, the whys. But there are also whys that should be addressed at the policy point level, at the government political point level, at the research level, at the extension level. And those are the things that will help the farmers to transit conveniently into the good agricultural practices that can give us the food security that we deserve. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Okoli. My network has been doing a lot of disservice. I don't know if you can hear me, but then the little I met something concrete, I believe, and that's the issue of adoption process. What we can do as players here is the issue of if it's by getting grants for these individuals, that they might have something like for them to be able to adopt soil testing to start with, like better agronomic practices. Since we have talked about finances, that they don't really have access to resources as such, So they might not be able to afford soil testing in the first instance. We should have something, a kind of provision that they will have access to it for free for like 2 of their production cycles. When they see the results, that will enable them to both be willing and as well to be able. There's aspect of willingness. When they see results, the result will pull them to want to come for soil testing and then many other agronomical practices that is better, right? The sustainable practices. 2, when they see results, they will be ability to, because when the finance increase, their income increase, they will be able to pay for further soil testing when as the need arise because of the consistent. The case of climate change, there's need for consistent soil tests to be able to know which of the elements, nutrient is limiting and how best to replenish. I met that, and I think Agro Optimizer Limited has provision for the issue of a soil test. Mr. Okewole, just for you to know, Mr. Stephen will be talking more elaborately on the issue of provisions they have been making around soil test for smallholder farmers and how far they've gone. When he's responding, he will respond from there. Mr. Stephen, please circle that question, the question of helping farmers to at least have the taste of the goodness, of support, of community support, right? Which you are doing already. Please circle that when you were coming up to answer that. When you are coming up to speak after Mr. Okewole is through with the 3 questions that we're trying to raise with him. Please circle that and respond accordingly. Mr. Okewole, thank you so far. You've answered the issue of financing, and we are doing poorly. And there should be solution around that. I can't recall if you recommended anything we can do about that, just the way you strongly recommended what we can do about better agronomic practices, adoption of better agronomic practices. Third thing is the issue of marketing. I want you to respond on the issue of access to markets, fair markets. Just as I was telling a friend yesterday who called me yesterday, who is into product, agronomical products buying at a wholesale level. They're about farm gate to the industry gates. He was raising that issue with me, and I told him, I said, if you want to buy agronomic products, produce rather, pardon me, that we should, if it's maize we want to buy, the maize that has not yet left this thing, that is still on the field growing. If you want to buy maize, if you want to buy soya that has not yet even been planted already, we would have to go around June. I was telling him that I believe in his practice of so far, he doesn't know that aspect. Why? Because the traders who we call Olowo, who are very close to these smallholder farmers, they are the ones that are providing the funding, the financing, which we said that is not been that much on ground for the smallholder farmers, especially for input at their level, right? And then other needed fund for the operations, farm activities, like plowing and the rest. Excuse me. Right. To buy maize that is still on the field, and to buy the soya beans that has not yet been planted. I guess Mr. Okewale understand what I'm trying to say there.
Yes.
So that we'll be able to adequately compete with the traders who would have even gone ahead of us to pay the farmers what they call agbale, to pay in kind and in cash because of the celebrations that have gone on now, Christmas, Easter, those who have done one event or the other in the family, festives that have gone, Ileya that is coming, and the like. Expenses farmers would have collected a lot of money from the and the season that is ongoing. And not too late. I think June will be appropriate for us to go. For some people who have not yet collected in a lot, who still had money around the pre-season for maize and what have you. And
Hello, please. Hello, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Hello. Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Wale, I can hear you.
What happened to Prince David? I think he went off.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was my network initially, but later I realized that. So do
Let's
we
do,
wait for him,
let's
or I
wait for
respond to
him.
what the question he has raised?
Okay.
I'm so sorry, sir. His network is so bad.
Okay, can I respond to what he raised there?
Okay, maybe we continue with the questions he has actually raised. Then by the time we have
Okay.
him on board, we can.
Okay. Yeah, then I remember while he was asking the question, he said I perhaps didn't really mention concretely recommendations for the financial.
The agri-finance, yeah.
Yes, there are actually many models, throughout the world that are adapted to different climes. I will just mention maybe 3 or 4 that comes to my head at this moment. The first financing model is financing intervention that can be done are through the institutions. Institutions that I mean here are the banking institution and then the public institutions. That is the government, which can come in various forms, and then the banks. The banks too can support farmers and indeed stakeholders in the value chain. The another option that can come are through backward integration. Some of the examples that he was mentioning, saying that some people pay money to farmers for them to just raise up crops or agricultural commodities and they harvest. They are more or less some of the backward integration models. So what happens with backward integration model is that you go back, perhaps you are also along you are in the midstream or downstream, you go back to the farm, you make payments to farmers to raise some commodities for you, specify the quantity you want, and then of course the period, and then you pay for the entire production cost. And of course, you offtake from them, they are being sold to you, and the farmers get the other extra as their own profit. And of course, there are some, even in that model, there are some that they don't even pay the farmer anything. They are responsible for the payment of everything. They will bring the plowing process, they pay for the plowing, they pay for the harrowing, they pay for the fertilizer application, they pay for the spraying, they pay for all agricultural practices. And of course, they still sell and then they give the farmers their profit share based on the contract that has been signed. But to answer the question again, like I said, there are different financing models. So the institutions are failed because the interest rates are not reasonable, feasible for farmers that we are considering, especially the smallholder farmers. And even the commercial scale farmers, interest rates are way beyond what agriculture can handle, because agriculture is a risky business. It has a lot of risk. And so that is off. So what people do, just like Prince rightly mentioned, is that they pay these farmers to help them raise commodities, and they have an agreement because the farmers do not have the money, they have the skills, they have the resources, they have land, they have the skills they can raise. The people coming with the money perhaps do not have all of those things, or they have them, but it's not enough. They needed more produce or commodities. And that arrangement is working as we speak, in Nigeria and many other developing nations. Of course, it has its own bottlenecks, and that is where the legal part of it must be handled. There will be contracts and all of that. So that aspect too is feasible and is working, and it also speaks to the issue of financing, the issue of supporting farmers in their finances. But beyond that, it also comes with other benefits. Then the last but not the least that comes to my head at the moment is supporting farmers, even though it is not finances directly, but it's also translating to finances, where extension organizations and agencies provide support for knowledge, for monitoring and evaluation of their field, and for marketing their produce. So the farmers will look for money wherever they are, but these organizations will support them in their marketing, so in their production practices. They will send research officers, extension officers to their field, help them to ensure that they do agricultural practices, because they would have told them that if we monitor this for you, you will, your profitability will increase by, say, 20%, 30%, or 50% of the previous year. And so they ensure that those things are monitored the way that they want it to be monitored, ensure the good agricultural practices, and of course, they also help the farmers to sell the product. Now, the market in Nigeria is diverse. We have the open markets where everybody goes and buy things. We have which is not so regulated, and then we have the regulated markets, and then which are the supermarkets, the formal markets, supermarkets, schools, hostels, hospitals, hotels, and so on and so forth. And we also have the corporate industrial markets, which also falls into the regulated market. And those ones are just, you are selling them to industries who are either using it for processing or they are exporting. So for the market that, I don't know the market that Prince was talking about when he was referring to someone who he was buying and all that. So depending on the market, each market comes with their dynamics. There are costs and expenses associated with each different kinds of market, and they are different from each other. There are some farmers that find they are smallholders, but they have been assisted to produce relatively high quality product, and they are already linked to organizations that are exporting. For example, cocoa beans, ginger, hibiscus flower. and so on and so forth. So those already have a model, and their profit is going to be high because their products are being exported out of the country, and that is foreign exchange. So to answer the question again, to really complement some of the things I've said, I'm saying that market access depends on the channel that you're taking. Is it the open market? Is it the regulated market? Or is perhaps even the export market? So for each of those things, there are challenges. We don't expect the amount of money you buy in the open market to be the same amount of money the regulated market or the supermarket buy it. So that also goes to the quality. You don't expect to buy a product that has the same quality in the supermarket, which has different price, with the same quality in the open market. So what that means is, in essence, is that your market will also determines the kind of production practices that you do, and of course, determines the amount that you sell them, and of course, also determines the timing of selling. Farmers that already have people that are buying from them do not necessarily have, they perhaps won't even welcome any other off-taker because they already have signed a contract with someone. But for someone that just wants to do commodity aggregation, that wants to move around farmers.
Almost, sir. Yeah.
Hello,
Thank
can
you
you hear me?
so much. Yes, I can hear you. I'm appreciating you. Though the network has not allowed me to stay as such, but then much as I'm here, I'm going and coming. Network has been yanking me in and out. But I met the issue of the open market and closed market. The issue of the open market and closed market, and the fact that some farmers are departed, they are often already have a contract. What's the percentage of those who have such a kind of structured market access?
Okay. Is that question directed to me?
If you are,
Hello?
if you are to quantify. Hello, sir.
Okay, so I do not have the statistics now, but definitely the open market is bigger, than the regulated markets, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, the open market is bigger. So, but I do not have the percentage of what the regulated market is compared to the open market. I'm only trying to say also too that there are characteristics that go along with these markets, and it also determines how you source for the commodities that will flood this market. The timing of the year, the season when they will be peak or the off season, all of those things are going to determine the markets that are going determines all of these other characteristics, including the agricultural practices that is being practiced. So, but I can't say, but I know the open market is way bigger. And I also know that we are in a transition mode. Some open markets are moving into regulated markets because they are changing their systems backwardly into the farm. And if you have experienced the regulated markets and the profit and the benefit that comes from it, you don't want to go back to the open market. For example, I was in a farm yesterday, and all their produce, it's not for the open market. It's quite a very big farm, and they are producing in tons. All their produce, you can't see them in Oyo State, for example. I know Bodija market. You can't see them in Bodija market. You can't see them in what open market again is in Oyo State, Songo or Joe or something. You can't.
Shasha,
their produce are not
Monia.
there. You can't see their produce there. So they already have an established regulated market where they supply, and of course that speaks to their product agricultural practices. It's quite different from the produce you see in the open market.
Yeah, I get
so
that, Mr. Okewale. I got that. Yeah. I got that. But then my concern is that is because they are big, right? This small, hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening.
No. So I mean that these small farm owners, we know what they practice. Yeah, I said that these small farm owners, small owners farms, we know that they do not practice better agronomic activities. They don't carry out better agronomic activities. It's still the day in, day out traditional method. And we are trying to ensure that we've discussed how that they can adopt at least sweat test to start with, right? And we are looking at some other possibilities like practicing IPM in the crop protection aspect, the issue of integrated practices of managing pest management practices and the like. So now, sir, seeing that they don't have better agronomic practices, and we are working at that, which is already affecting the market they are playing in. I mean, which already have effect on the market they are going to be playing in. And from your example, Big Farm was where you were yesterday, and their product cannot be. So I'm talking about any hope in the nearest future for these smallholder farmers to at least be able to participate in the open market. I mean, something that can be done for them to also participate, in the closed market, I mean to say, so that they will have a taste of it and then will not be willing to go back to the open market where there has been a vicious circle of poverty as a result of where they are playing again as vis-a-vis the market. Is there something that you can suggest that can be done at this time that can? I'm with you, sir.
Can you hear? Hello, can you?
Oh, sorry, we lost Mr. Okewale there. The network has yanked him up. Mr. Stephen Okuola, while we wait for Mr. Okewale, can you please, okay, took you off.
Hello, am I audible?
Okay. Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, I think it's network. So to answer your question, as I speak to you today, there are many smallholder farmers that are transiting from the open market to the regulated market. Many. So it is not a static. I hope you are listening to me. Am I audible?
Yes, very well. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Yeah, so
yes,
yeah,
you are.
So yes, so I'm saying that many farmers to some transform the production practices of smallholder farmers and offtake from them to sell into the regulated markets. They have access to markets, and so they are linking the producers to the markets because they know that those markets will not get what the producers were producing before. So they go back to train those producers the products that the regulated market wants, and that's exactly what has been done. So farmers can see it. That is one. Another thing is that the open market itself is also changing into the regulated market because of the demand for safety, food safety, human nutrition, and behaviors and health generally. So what I'm saying in essence is that because of the consciousness of more and more people that have the resources are leaving the open market to buy food that they are sure that is safe and will not make them sick. So there's a transition of farmers that are moving from conditions, and they are also the market in itself is also gradually changing. By the time you train these small farmers into good agricultural practices and all of that, they will produce products that will be more attractive to the open market that people are asking for, And when people are asking for more of their products, if it's increasing, the people selling in the open market will go to those produce than or compared to the other farmers. So eventually, of course, produce will be a little bit more expensive, but their transition possibilities are also there. So going back to what you can, apart from the soil test is just one of, you might have a whole holistic approach in producing products that are high quality and that can command price. And by virtue of that, you actually take a step higher from the kind of people or access. Also inform the kind of optimizing the kind of nutrients that are available to your produce, but there are other things too that can make it safe able to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean to ask, thank you so much, sir. I mean to ask the transition, those who are transiting already from open market to closed market, who are smallholder farmers, what are they doing to get that done?
Well, for example, that there are many people now that there's a practice, especially for tomato, that is called staking. So the farmers do not stake. And when you stake, the tomatoes do not grow bigger and do not produce more. Those that are staking now are having more tomatoes, having bigger tomatoes. Another example is that have been changed. Using now they are being introduced to using nursery trays, food environment, the shade nets, unlike before that just so all of these little things are changing that. Hello?
Hello?
Am I audible?
Hello? Yeah, you are. Though the network is not that stable.
Okay. So that is it. So the transition is also a question of quality and safety, and of course, which also translate into increased price of produce, and of course, the pockets of the farmers will grow big, and they can also expand in their businesses. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We've had a lot and enough. We can't have enough of you, sir, but we've had a lot today, and then very fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Okoli, for coming around. Mr. Stephen is to respond to the agronomy practices. Agro Optimizer is doing some things around agronomy practices to better the smallholder farmers' agronomy practices. They are doing a lot around that, that I can tell. I don't know of these other two, finance and then the market access. But then on the agronomy, so Mr. Stephen, let's have it, please. Explain to us in bullet points. I know that you are witty, but explain to us in bullet points what Agro Optimizer Limited has been doing and still plan to do to ensure that we have better agronomy practices among our smallholder farmers. Talk about the soil test, talk about the issue of drone engagement. Go on, please. Mr.
Hello.
Steven.
Hello. Am I on?
Hi, we can get this.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to Mr. Oye Wale, oh, thank you so much for those wonderful nuggets you actually shared with us. Just for us to go straight into the better agronomic practices, BAP as I call it. The issue amidst the small old farmers will not be we're not trying to talk about okay, what are they? It will just be on the adoption of these practices. The adoption of these practices, the adoption is quite low. Still talking about some other factors too, because food production, or let me say agriculture, cannot be treated in a silo, because it is somehow interconnected. And that is why when we're talking about the agri financing, we still come to talk about the dividend of BAP, that is better agronomic practices, paying for those funds that may want to come in the financing. Because one thing, just like for every farmer, it is just like what farmers are actually experiencing, or the way it is for every farmer, the way it is for farmers is just the way it is for every businessman, every business organization. Because primarily a farmer goes to the farm to make money, that is to earn profits, to earn a living. It is food production is or food security, as we are campaigning for, is just secondary. No farmer actually goes there. Let us not deceive ourselves. Most of us always are the up there shouting food security, national food security. First thing that pushes the farmer to the farm, or anybody to the farm, is profit making, earning a living from the activity. Secondary is the food security achievement, or food security contribution. So on the larger space, we're now looking at, okay, since food security is our concern, then we need to look into how to make these people make profit or earn profit from what they do, for us to achieve the food security. Now, coming to the adoption of BAP, I think let us agro optimizer have been coming up, because we have actually researched some of the problems why people or farmers don't tend to adopt this BAP. Some of them, when you speak with them, when you interact with them, I'm speaking based on experience, not just what is being read or what is being said. Like working one-on-one with farmers, like most of them are even aware of these better agronomic practices. Like they've seen it at work, but yet they are not practicing it. And it is what you practice that gives you results. It is not what you know that gives you result. It is what you practice that gives you result. And you cannot practice except you know it. So we still have an appreciable number of farmers that still know about these better agronomic practices, and yet are not practicing it, and yet are not putting it to work. Okay, but agro optimizer have actually been looking into what are the um, what are the root cause, or what are the factors not making these people adopt the better agronomic practice. And it was part of what we actually have together in our what is it called, in the journal paper I presented on behalf of Agro Optimizer at the Africa Conference of Precision Agriculture 2024, looking at various models that has actually, or various model that is actually helping smallholder farmers adopt precision farming in other parts of the world, and trying to relate it with in Africa context, and see how we can actually have our farmers in Africa and Nigeria, to be precise, also adopt precision farming, and also enjoy the benefit and dividend of precision farming. Just as Mr. Oyewole said at the earlier part of his remark, that we when we're talking about, okay, maybe the population or the statistics of farmers, smallhold farmers in these part of the world. It's trying to show that it is in this part of the world because we have some other parts of the world that are actually doing better. So we don't need, on that note, we don't really need to do so much in convincing these are farmers to the benefit of precision agriculture, because most of them even want to have the same benefit as those of the other part of the world are enjoying, and they can see the way they are doing it, but there are some limitations or there are some factors hindering them from actually adopting those practices. Now, coming to what Agro Optimizer have actually been doing, and is even one of those things we trying to do by bringing up the Farmers Hangout platform. Okay, let's say on the part of the soil test, at various times, let me say, okay, precisely last year, around that is September, October, November, we actually organized a free soil test initiative for a number of farmers across Southwest, and which we actually have a good number of farmers from Oyo State, Ogun State, and Kwara State actually participated. We have farmers from other states, but we have a good number of farmers from those states mentioned. And I must share this. I think Prince actually pointed this out because he was quite aware of the initiative. And the initiative, let me say, 1/3 of the clients or farmers we've got this year come on board soil testing are actually as a result of the initiative we did last year. From the testimonies of farmers that participated, other farmers seeing how those farmers are actually doing well on their farm using the soil test recommendations. So they also want to enjoy what other farmers are enjoying. So the benefits of what is it called, better agronomic practices are there, but until they are being done or they are being practiced, the result cannot be seen by farmers. Now, the question of how do we get farmers to actually come on board these agronomic practices? One, I would say, in the aspect of you can't do better than you know. You can't do better than you know. Talking about capacity building. Do our farmers really know about these better agronomic practices? There is difference between I've been hearing about it and I actually know it. In the aspect of extension services, on the national scale, it's quite poor, very poor. And then how many of these better agronomic practices do we have in our education curriculum that relates with agriculture? How many? Now, Mr. Oyewole mentioned the benefit of just mere stacking, that's taking your tomato. As little as that, should I say little? Okay, I don't want to say little because it's not so little looking at the benefit, but as little or as simple as that better agronomic practice is, the cost of it cannot be matched up with the benefit of it in terms of productivity. So now, the aspect of financing, because in terms of staking is not so expensive to do, but yet the farmers are not adopting it. So everything is not also about the what is it called, the agri financing, the finance. Okay, the fund is not there. The fund is not there. Let us come down to the little ones, the ones that won't even won't put so much burden on their pockets, yet they are not adopting. And that shows that finance is not only the problem. The part of knowledge, getting to know what these practices are, is also part, because they cannot do what they don't know and they cannot do better than they know. So we need to look into that part of knowledge, and not just on the level of one man is coming out to educate farmers. It's not something of one man. It's not something of one organization, just a singular organization. It has to be something everybody is actually into. Everybody that actually have the resource to actually educate farmers. We have to just bring it up. And until we get to the level of trying to make initial profit at the initial stage, we will not really get there. Hello, am I on? Hello, am I still on?
Yes, sir.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. You're on. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So in that aspect, it is not only the agri financing, they have to this, they have to that. What about the little aspects? Okay, for example, now for farmers to actually assess or actually have a good stand when it comes to marketing their products in terms of quality. See, just the staking which Mr. Oyewole mentioned. When there is difference between the quality of a cucumber farm that is staked, that practice staking, and and the farm that doesn't. When you check the farms that actually practice staking, they have their, apart from the massive productivity, the improvement in terms of quantity, the production quantity, also the quality. It is in a farm they don't stake, you will start getting cucumber that feels that tastes bitter. In a farm where proper staking is actually done, where all the, what is it called, the cucumber fruits are hanging, not lying on the ground, you will hardly find any of the cucumber getting bitter. And a farmer can actually leverage on that to bargain the price of his product. But in a situation where they present the cucumber to the market and those that want to test it actually picks maybe from the sampling, they actually got one that is bitter, they will be using it to generalize. And that will actually cut the wings of the farmer down. So we can't say it all on the capacity building. We can't say it all on the capacity building of farmers, getting them to know. And it is not only to these farmers.
Mr. Stephen.
Yeah.
Pardon, permit me to put it like with one word. What you've been saying is attitude. Attitude.
Okay.
Attitude.
It's attitude. I get you. Attitude. Okay.
So everything is not about, yes, the problem. And then I'm beginning to say here that what we teach students in the class, where we talk about problems of agriculture, most often than not, when we say the problems, I want to say today, if I'm in class anytime T, I'll tell the students that farmers are the problems of agriculture. we are at it now, and then we have to come to it that some people don't know that their attitude like you are to stake every twinning and a crawling plant, especially not every one of them. Pardon me. The things like cowpea, things like soybean need no staking, right? But Things like cucumber needs taking. Something like yam needs taking. The ones that agronomic practices state that they need staking should be staked is not for the fun of it. There are consequences. But the attitude, like what difference? Will they not grow? Will they not produce? I didn't stake, they produced. But then quality assurance, the quality issue, the relative quantity be solved on the farm at the level of smallholder farmers that does not really require fund money or input as we are talking about. If the attitude is not corrected, am I saying your mind, sir?
Yes, you got it,
Mr.
sir.
Stephen. Okay.
Attitude.
So we have to address the attitude. I remember that in extension, one of the courses I took in extension education, extension services and education, they were talking about the fact that there are 3 outcomes for every extension education services. There are 3 outcomes expected. Knowledge transfer, that there should be improvement from indigenous knowledge they have, which has been transferred from generation to generation, to add to it the scientific knowledge that the research centers are bringing, so that they are not asking them to throw away the knowledge they have from generation to generation. The indigenous are very important. They are meant to rather marry it with the modern knowledge, because things are changing. So knowledge improvement, change in knowledge. That number 2, that are transferred to them from the former generation. And then there are skills that need to be imbibed now, that need to be learned now, that need to be adopted now in the practices. Gone are these days now, at least should be able to operate in rollers, a roller plant. Okay, skill. The third thing that is expected of, can you hear me?
The network.
Okay, where did you stop?
You can continue. I'm trying to join. I'm trying on my own part. I'm trying to join the pieces together to make sense of it. So I'm still getting you, despite the fact the network is actually splitting the whole thing. But I'm with you.
Okay, so I'm talking about KSA.
Yeah,
knowledge,
the knowledge
skill,
transfer,
and attitude.
Attitude, yeah.
The skills, ability to operate, to perform an operation on the farm using advanced tools as against the existing skill or tools that they used to use, the crude tools, crude implement, now being able to use improved implement or tool, that ability, that skills. And then third thing is the issue of attitude, that there should be attitude change in the farmers. you know that part of attitude is this issue of excuse, this issue of postponement of practice. I will do it. I will do it. What they call this in procrastination.
Procrastination.
Agriculture, yes.
Uh,
And the issue of it doesn't matter.
can I
The
share with
issue of it doesn't matter. Yeah, the issue of it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So whereas when we're discussing the problem of agriculture and then matching it with solutions or to these identified problems, the next thing we jump at telling the students, again, I'm talking to teachers now, the next thing we jump at is the issue of saying government should, government should, government should, government should. And I always tell my students, I said, government should is actually should be included as part of the problems of agriculture. Smallholder farmers whose attitude stinks, who's procrastinating, who says a practice does not matter, which is going to bring about performance difference in the effort applied on the farm. How will government come to help that person to fix his or her attitude? Do you get, sir?
I'm with you.
So we are really, really hitting it. And I believe we've really had long time coming from some minutes after 12, like 12:20. We've had already an 1 hour, 20 minutes discussion. I wouldn't know if you still have something you want to raise with us.
Okay.
And then if the partner, one of the partner organization which is here, which has been here with us from the beginning, will also want to chip in something before
Okay, let me
we
just
wrap it up and then
wrap
call it a day while we look forward to the before we
Yeah.
allow Boba Ventura to chip in one or two things.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
we'll call it a day.
Okay. Just as we all know, the discussion is in continuation. It's a continuous one, so we cannot finish it up in a day, and that is why I decided to pick that just one spot. We've been talking about agri financing, this better agronomy practice. If they don't practice it, we won't have the result. Then most of the major problem that has always been pointed out has always been the finance. The problem, the whole of the problem is not finance. And there are times where the finance is actually on ground, the fund is on ground, and yet the people to practice are not doing the right thing. And there are other ones that doesn't really need so much finance, that are their disposal, but yet they are not practicing it. And if they don't practice, we can't actually get the result. So for today, as you have summed it up, is on the attitude, like our openness to actually even improve, or our openness to this better agronomic practice. So in subsequent discussion, we'll be looking at some other factors around why we've been having poor adoption rates of better agronomic practice. So thank you.
With your kind permission, this is where we'll be stopping today. This time next week, 12 noon to 1:45 range, we'll be here again to still expand more, to address more. We will be bringing in guests, thought leaders on, and the embassy this time around now will be around the attitude of the farmers, the attitude of the small farm owners, smallholder farmers, as way to start to solve the problem of a low productivity in agriculture, and consequently, the food security we are pursuing. Sir Stephen, thank you so much for organizing Farmers Hangout. Thank you for calling us to partnership. And thank you for coming around. We believe by this time next week, we would have been able to be able to tackle the issue of the attitude of our smallholder farmers, the players in this who are in the majority. We'll be able to address that, and then while we prepare towards the Farmers Hangout in the next couple of days. Thank you so much for coming around. See you next Wednesday, God willing. See you next week, God willing.